Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deep Dive Podcast. I'm Liam, your host, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. We're diving into a fascinating and, let's be honest, a bit spicy topic. Musk versus Wikipedia, a showdown of funding, ideology, and a little sprinkle of tech drama.
And I'm Emma, your co-host and partner in this adventure. This is such an intriguing topic. Two giants in their own worlds, Elon Musk and Wikipedia, squaring off over how knowledge is funded and shaped. I mean, it's not every day you see billionaires poking at online encyclopedias.
Exactly. And this isn't just a debate about money. It's about values, transparency, and even a touch of ego, if we're being honest.
Totally. Musk's critiques about Wikipedia's funding methods and even their supposed bias have sparked a huge conversation online, and Wikipedia's not exactly backing down. They've got receipts to show why they operate the way they do.
We'll break down what's happening, explore the arguments from both sides, and even share some of our own thoughts. And honestly, Emma, I can't wait to hear your take on this, because you always manage to add a perspective I haven't considered.
Well, thanks, Liam, and I think it's safe to say you're going to have plenty of opinions too. But before we get into the meat of it, let's remind our listeners, if you enjoy what we do here, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who loves a good intellectual sparring match.
Absolutely. All right, Emma, ready to kick things off?
Let's do it. Listeners, buckle up. We're about to take a deep dive into Musk versus Wikipedia.
All right, so you guys know I love a good deep dive. And this one you sent me is about Elon Musk and Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just tell you, this is a lot more interesting than I initially thought it would be.
Yeah.
We've got reports from all over the world, international news sources, and some really colorful commentary from India.
Oh, wow.
So what's got everybody buzzing? Well, on the surface, it's Musk's $1 million offer to rename Wikipedia Dikipedia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Wow.
But is he serious? Or is this a publicity stunt with a deeper agenda? That's what we're here to uncover today.
Yeah, it's fascinating how this all started. You know, Wikipedia publicly stated they're not for sale, and Musk, being Musk, counters with this pretty outrageous offer.
Yeah.
But it's more than just a billionaire's whim, you know. The situation really gets at some major questions about information control in the digital age and how philanthropy can be used as a lever of power.
So walk me through this. Wikipedia offer $1 billion is serious change even for Musk.
Oh, yeah.
What exactly is he proposing?
So he's offering $1 billion to rename Wikipedia Dikipedia for at least a year.
Wow.
Now, whether this is a genuine offer, a calculated publicity stunt, or just Musk being provocative is up for debate, but one thing's for sure, he knows how to get attention.
Yeah.
And steer the conversation, you know? And by doing so, he's forcing us to confront some uncomfortable truths about how a platform like Wikipedia operates.
Okay, so there's the shock value, but then there's the substance. Musk isn't just throwing money around. He's actively criticizing Wikipedia, calling it woke, and claiming it's pushing a specific agenda. He's even zeroed in on their budget, specifically the $50 million dedicated to DEI initiatives.
Right.
It feels like he's trying to tap into a very specific nerve here.
You're absolutely right. By highlighting the DEI spending, Musk is playing into a broader strategy we've been seeing, particularly from certain conservative groups, to discredit and undermine social justice efforts. These initiatives, which aim to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, have become a lightning rod for controversy. Musk's accusations of Wokepedia feed into the narrative that these programs are actually discriminatory and go against the idea of a neutral platform.
So he's using this very public, very outlandish offer as a way to push a specific narrative about Wikipedia and, by extension, these larger societal debates. It's a pretty savvy, albeit controversial tactic.
Exactly. He's framing this as a battle for free speech and unbiased information. Whether you agree with him or not, he's successfully put Wikipedia on the defensive. Now they have to respond not only to his financial offer, but also to these accusations of bias and agenda pushing.
And how has Wikipedia reacted to all of this? They must be in a tough spot right now.
They've responded by reiterating their core principles, that they're a nonprofit, volunteer-driven platform committed to providing neutral and accurate information. They've emphasized their reliance on donations from everyday users, essentially saying, we're not for sale, we're not beholden to any special interests.
It's a classic David versus Goliath situation. On one hand, you have this incredibly powerful billionaire with a massive platform and a knack for grabbing headlines. On the other, you have this volunteer-driven organization reliant on the goodwill of its users and the dedication of its editors.
And that contrast is precisely what makes this so compelling. It raises questions about the future of knowledge itself in the digital age. Can a platform like Wikipedia, with its collaborative, community-driven approach, withstand the pressures of individuals with immense wealth and influence? That's what we'll explore as we dive deeper into this story.
It's interesting to think about the fallout from all this.
Yeah.
Even if Musk doesn't end up buying Wikipedia, his actions could still have a ripple effect.
You're right to be concerned. His accusations of bias, even without any concrete evidence, could still chip away at the trust people have in Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, you throw enough mud and some of it's going to stick.
Right.
And when you have someone like Musk with his massive online following amplifying those accusations, the impact can be significant.
For sure. And that reputational damage could have some serious consequences for their funding.
Yeah.
They rely heavily on donations.
Right.
And if people start questioning their neutrality, they might be less inclined to open up their wallets.
One of the articles you sent me mentioned that Musk even kind of hinted at a donation boycott, questioning why the Wikimedia Foundation needs so much money. He even said that you could fit Wikipedia's entire text on a phone.
What?
But that ignores the massive amount of infrastructure and manpower it takes to keep the site running.
Right. He's tapping into a growing skepticism about institutions, even nonprofits. People are wondering where their money is going and if these organizations are really transparent and efficient. By raising these questions about Wikipedia, even if he's doing it indirectly, Musk is furthering that distrust.
So let's say worst case scenario, this negative attention does have a real impact. What are the potential consequences? Like, what could actually change?
Well, one possibility is that Wikipedia just gets paralyzed, by this need to constantly defend itself against these accusations of bias.
Right.
So they could become afraid to make any changes that might be perceived as favoring one side or another, even if those changes are necessary to improve accuracy or update information.
That'd be a shame. Wikipedia needs to be able to adapt and evolve to stay relevant, especially in today's rapidly changing world.
Absolutely. Another possibility is that they feel pressured to make changes to their governance or editorial policies in response to this criticism. So they might create new oversight mechanisms or try to be more transparent about their editing process, which could be positive.
But it could also backfire. What if they overcorrect in an attempt to appease these criticisms? The content could become watered down or overly cautious, and it could lose the boldness and comprehensiveness that makes Wikipedia so valuable.
It's a tightrope. And then, of course, there's the most extreme outcome.
Yeah.
What if funding dries up to the point where they can't maintain their servers or attract enough volunteer editors? Wikipedia could slowly fade away, becoming a shadow of its former self.
That would be a huge loss, not just for people who use it for information, but for the internet as a whole.
Right.
Wikipedia is this incredible resource, a testament to collaboration, and this idea that knowledge should be freely accessible to everyone.
It really is. And that's why this whole situation is so concerning. It's not just about Elon Musk and his antics. It's about the future of a platform that's become essential to how we understand and navigate the world. It's about this tension between individual power and collective knowledge in the digital age.
It makes you appreciate the challenge of creating and maintaining a platform like Wikipedia, especially now when misinformation is so rampant. Yeah.
It's like they're trying to hold on to this idea of a shared reality, a common ground where we can at least agree on the basic facts.
Right.
And that's becoming increasingly difficult.
Exactly. And that's why this story is so similar to what's happening on other platforms like Facebook and Twitter. We're seeing these same battles over truth control and who gets to decide what information we see and how it's presented.
So in the middle of all this talk about bias and accusations, how does Wikipedia actually try to ensure neutrality?
Yeah.
I mean, they have guidelines, but how does it actually work in practice?
Their approach relies heavily on community-based oversight. So volunteer editors review each other's work, and they flag potential biases or inaccuracies. And then there's a system for resolving disputes where disagreements are mediated and resolved through consensus building.
It sounds like a lot of work for a volunteer-run organization.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, it's not a perfect system.
Right.
There have been cases of biased editing, people creating fake accounts to manipulate content, even outright vandalism. True. But even with these challenges, Wikipedia remains a remarkably robust and generally reliable source of information. And, it's important to remember that neutrality doesn't mean giving equal weight to all viewpoints, especially when some viewpoints are demonstrably false or harmful.
So you wouldn't give equal space to flat earthers and scientists when you're writing about the shape of the Earth.
Exactly. Neutrality means representing the consensus of expert opinion and providing context so readers can understand the nuances of a particular issue.
This makes me think about those edit wars we hear about on Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
Where people with different perspectives just battle it out over the content of an article. It's almost like we're watching a similar type of edit war play out, but on a global scale, with Elon Musk as one of the key players.
It's a powerful analogy, and it highlights the tension within a platform like Wikipedia. On the one hand, you want to be open and accessible and allow anyone to contribute. But on the other hand, you need ways to ensure accuracy, fairness, and prevent manipulation by bad actors.
So it seems like this whole situation really boils down to one fundamental question. Can a platform that relies on community consensus and volunteerism survive in an era of increasing individual power and influence? What happens when someone like Elon Musk, with his resources and reach, decides he wants to reshape a cornerstone of the internet like Wikipedia?
It's a question we need to grapple with because the answer has implications not just for Wikipedia, but for the future of online information itself.
So we talked about the potential fallout for Wikipedia, but let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit further.
Okay.
What if Musk actually does gain significant influence over Wikipedia? What might a Muskified Wikipedia actually look like?
That's a question that should make anyone who values accurate information nervous.
Yeah.
We've talked about his accusations of bias, his focus on unbiased information, and his skepticism of certain initiatives like DEI.
Right.
It's not hard to imagine those views shaping the content itself.
So are we talking potential shifts in what topics are even covered and how they're presented? What kind of concrete changes could we actually see?
Well, one area to watch is the handling of topics that Musk has publicly labeled as woke.
Okay.
Think about articles on things like critical race theory or gender studies or even climate change.
Okay.
We might see those topics de-emphasized or presented through a lens that aligns more with Musk's personal views.
Meaning existing articles could be rewritten to give more weight to dissenting voices.
Yeah.
Even if those voices don't represent the mainstream scientific or academic consensus.
Exactly. Musk has often expressed skepticism of experts, particularly in fields where he believes ideology or political correctness trumps what he sees as objective truth. And that perspective could easily seep into how Wikipedia handles these controversial subjects.
So imagine you're researching vaccines on Wikipedia and you find an article that gives equal weight to anti-vax viewpoints alongside established science. It's disturbing to think about the real-world consequences if Wikipedia starts amplifying fringe theories just because they align with a powerful individual's beliefs.
It's a slippery slope, and it raises a really fundamental question. Who gets to decide what constitutes unbiased information?
Right.
Is it just a matter of presenting all sides equally, even when one side is based on misinformation or demonstrably false claims?
That's a tough one, and it goes beyond just specific topics. What about the way Wikipedia is governed? Could Musk's influence lead to some structural changes?
It's possible.
Yeah.
He might push for changes to the editorial process,
Okay.
perhaps making it easier to challenge or overturn the existing consensus. Or he could advocate for a greater role for AI in content moderation, which could have some really unforeseen consequences.
It's almost like we're talking about two competing visions for Wikipedia.
Yeah.
On one side, you have the current model, which is collaborative, volunteer-driven, striving for consensus through a rigorous editing process.
Right.
On the other side, you have this model that's potentially more top-down, influenced by a single individual's worldview and priorities.
It's a fascinating and potentially alarming clash of philosophies, and it raises a question that goes way beyond Wikipedia itself. Can a platform that relies on community and consensus really withstand the pressure of concentrated wealth and influence in the digital age?
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here for a second. Isn't it possible that a shakeup could actually be good for Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Maybe Musk's involvement would lead to some much-needed innovation or modernization?
It's not impossible. He could bring in resources to improve the user experience, invest in tools to combat misinformation more effectively, or streamline the editing process to attract new volunteers.
So there's a chance that some positive changes could come out of this, even if they're bundled with some potentially worrisome shifts in directions.
Yeah.
Like, this whole situation forces us to confront a complex dilemma, the potential benefits of disruption versus the risks of concentrating too much power in the hands of a single person.
Exactly, and that's a dilemma that goes far beyond Wikipedia. We're seeing it play out all across the tech landscape as a small group of powerful individuals exert increasing influence over the platforms that shape our online lives.
It's a reminder that we can't just take these platforms for granted. We need to be active participants, engaging critically with the information we encounter, and supporting organizations that champion accuracy, transparency, and a diversity of viewpoints.
Absolutely. And that's why I think this whole deep dive has been so important. It's not just about Elon Musk and Wikipedia. It's about understanding the forces that shape our access to knowledge in the digital age and recognizing our own responsibility in safeguarding reliable sources and information.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive. We explored the motivations, the potential consequences, and even tried to imagine a Wikipedia shaped by Elon Musk's vision. What's clear is that the future of this vital platform is uncertain and the stakes are incredibly high.
This story is definitely still unfolding, and it's one we should all be paying attention to. It raises some really fundamental questions about the nature of truth, the role of expertise, and the balance of power in the digital age.
So we'll leave you with a final thought. In an era of echo chambers and just information overload, how do we ensure that platforms like Wikipedia remain beacons of reliable, verifiable knowledge? It's a challenge we all face as we navigate this increasingly complex digital world. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deeper into the information that shapes your world.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. We've unpacked the back and forth between Elon Musk and Wikipedia, the funding critiques, the ideological clashes, and the larger conversation about who controls the flow of information online. Liam, what are your final thoughts on this?
You know, Emma, it's a tricky one. On one hand, Musk does raise some valid points about transparency and accountability. But on the other, Wikipedia is a platform that millions of people rely on every day. It's not perfect, but they've been doing something right for decades.
Exactly. I think what's clear is that this isn't just about these two players. It's a reflection of the bigger challenges we face in our digital world. How do we fund knowledge? Who decides what's fair and unbiased? It's a lot to think about.
Totally. And as much as we've explored today, I feel like there's still so much more to uncover. But that's why we love doing these deep dives, right?
Absolutely. And listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you side with Musk's critiques, or do you stand by Wikipedia's model? Leave a comment, share this episode, and join the conversation.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us on Deep Dive Podcast. We'll be back soon with another thought-provoking topic to explore.
Until then, take care, stay curious, and keep questioning the world around you.
See you next time on Deep Dive Podcast.
Bye, everyone.